And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, post-SummerSlam. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm great, Brad. It is great to see you, my friend. It is post-SummerSlam. The Saturday pay-per-views are always the best. We have time to digest, to process the event. And yeah, man, we're going to be covering it. And as always, it's great to see you. How are you?
Doing very well. If you are here, thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the 19 Media channel. That helps us out tremendously. If you are on our preferred podcast partner, Good Pods page, please leave a like, subscribe, do so on whatever platform you're listening to us on. It helps us a ton. I'm so good. Last night was a blast with SummerSlam. Sure, it was Money in the Bank 2.0 for a lot of it, but it was so much fun. It was hard to come down after that first match and think like, oh, this is gonna go poorly. After that, it was like, this is gonna rule. This night's gonna rule. Even though they were serving us up a bunch of leftovers, I felt like I knew that they were going to be delicious leftovers, and they were for the most part.
Yeah, Brad, the leftover analogy is not lost on me. That is incredibly accurate. I think your kind of synopsis of the event is so accurate that they really smartly bookended the show with two bangers.
Yes.
To open and to close. So like you said, we had Bianca and Becky opening, and then, which we'll talk about in great detail. And then we had Roman and Brock ending in a really spectacle-filled match. So we started on a high note, and I think for the most part, this could vary depending on fan or depending on viewer, but I think for the most part, we ended on a high note as well. So the stuff in between, I think, was hit or miss, but overall, a good first pay-per-view under the Triple H led regime, if you will.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We opened with we could do a rundown really quickly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bianca Belair coming in as champ, defeating Becky Lynch. And then we had a post-match angle, which we will get into a little later on. Logan Paul defeated The Miz. There was a kind of a Ciampa spot that popped me. I really like that he refused to leave and just put the chair down.
It's perfect, yeah.
But it was a weird way to get AJ Styles on the show, but at least we got AJ on the show. Lashley defeated Theory, put him in the Hurt Lock. The Mysterios defeated the Judgment Day when we got the return of Edge. Pat McAfee defeated Happy Corbin. The Usos defeated the Street Profits. I thought this match was good, but Jeff Jarrett serving as the special guest referee. It could have been literally anybody in there. It didn't have to be Jeff Jarrett. It didn't really work for me. Liv Morgan defeated Ronda Rousey, or did she? Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman, who took a gnarly bump through a table, defeated Brock Lesnar. Like I said, this was a ton of fun. Bookended by two great matches. Not to say that some of the other matches weren't great in the middle. I thought the Usos and the Street Profits match was awesome. We've just seen it before, and it's played out. It's tired. I don't want to see it again. Not for like a year.
Yeah, I I agree. I have questions for you about that in terms of how we move forward. But
likewise.
Yeah. That match particular didn't reach the heights of their match at Money in the Bank.
No.
And frankly, I was surprised at the ending. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but
I was shocked.
It just arrived so quickly, and it just left me scratching my head a little bit. But we'll definitely get to it.
My question for you today was, what do you do with the Profits or with Tez going forward?
Yeah, do you want to jump into it now?
We may as well do it. We're here.
Yeah, I'm here for it. So
embrace the mess.
Yeah, so you're so accurate about Jeff Jarrett. It feels like it could have been anyone. We didn't get a guitar. We didn't get
Strut.
No,
not really. Not during the match anyway.
Yeah, no slap nuts mention.
Don't piss me off.
Exactly. But the guns did look good, man. His biceps were It's
He's
the
in
dude did not miss
tremendous shape.
bicep day
He's
all
in
year.
tremendous. He looks like he
Yeah.
could probably go 20 minutes with anybody in that company and make it
Yeah.
look good.
Well, as we're
And
speaking, I think
he's
he's
having a
getting ready
match. Yeah.
for his tag match, Ric Flair's last match. Although you and I will not be buying this, I think certainly it will
We'll
appear
see.
on it'll appear on our timeline. And yeah, man, Jarrett's probably gonna do really well in that match. I don't remember the last time we've seen him in a ring, but he does look in phenomenal shape.
He had an indie match when he got released from the WWE not that long ago.
GCW, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
maybe
right.
what diet indie match. I don't know if you can consider GCW an indie show at this point, even though I know they're not under a big umbrella. GCW is a big company. MLW is a bigger company. We have some great wrestling companies out there, which we'll see how it goes going forward here. Now that it feels like a breath of fresh air is being breathed into the WWE product, and I think it's heading in a direction that might bring back a ton of fandom, a ton of fans.
A ton of talent and a ton of fandom.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they go hand in hand. Going back to your question, so I know in an alternate dimension, we would talk about this for 20 minutes, but I will try to keep my thoughts concise as I always try to do, sometimes unsuccessfully. So yeah, during this match, Brad, speaking of Jeff Jarrett, Montez Ford, he had a moment or two where he was not, I don't know if you could say it was a total heel move, but he hit his frog splash from the heavens. It was a 2.9 and 2.9 count, and Tez was not happy about that. He let Jeff Jarrett know that. And it was just we've seen Montez Ford being intense all the time, but this was sort of I don't know, like Jeff Jarrett just counted, and he's not in the wrong for that. And Tez sort of maybe shades of a heel turn. So yeah, man. Anyway, they end up losing this match cleanly. I believe it was a 1D that this time finished Angelo Dawkins. So Montez Ford, quote unquote, lost the match at Money in the Bank, even though his shoulder was up. I wonder if this is going to play into the storyline, by the way. Montez took the pin, or did he, at Money in the Bank? And then Dawkins took it, shoulder clearly on the mat at SummerSlam. After the match, though, Brad, Usos are walking down the very long ramp, which I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on the set too. Don't think I forgot. But they're walking down, ones in the air. Fans have the ones in the air because the bloodline is super over. They are dominant. And then I'm sure you saw this. The camera panned back into the ring where the Street Profits were looking incredibly sad. And it just seemed to me like that moment was there intentionally, signaling that something is about to go down for this tag team. They've had a great run from NXT and then till now on the main roster.
Yeah.
I definitely think someone is turning heel here. We had a major heel turn and babyface turn, or we had more of a babyface turn in AEW this week, which we'll get to. But I think we're going to see something similar here where one of these tag partners is going to turn on the other. My question for you, Brad, I think Montez and Angelo are going to shine individually. I hope we give a lot of credit to Angelo Dawkins because that dude is in great shape.
Yeah,
that
he
dude
really
has that dude has improved his work. He was never a bad worker, but his improvement is so noticeable in the ring. I think the easy move is you turn Montez heel because we saw glimpses of that in this match, and he's just so good on the mic that I could see it. And Angelo would be the babyface.
It makes the best sense. It makes the best sense or the most sense for Angelo to be the babyface because it helps.
I think it does.
Yeah, his star will rise because of that.
I think it does. I think Tez. I'm going to root for Montez regardless, but I agree with you. I think based on what we saw in this match and the post match, and then like you said about it, just makes sense not only for Montez, who we talk about often, but for Angelo, who's also a star. I think him being the babyface would be better than him turning heel. So I want to pass it to you, though. It sounds like we are in agreement on this one. Montez the heel.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I don't know if they'll do it. It feels like if you want to make a comparison to another tag team, if they were the Hardys or if they were Edge and Christian, I can't really say it with the Dudleys, but if they were the Hardys or Edge and Christian, Montez is Jeff or Edge in this comparison.
Sure.
And then you have an incredible worker, an incredible character who's just not quite that next step up right now in Angelo Dawkins, but he hasn't had a feud to get him there. and imagine him as a babyface, Montez as a heel, who I think Montez is just going to get better and better and better and better. I think Angelo will too, but he needs that rub or that push. We need to get behind him a little more, and then I think we'll get to see his character, because we don't really get to see Angelo Dawkins talk ever. And that's one of those indictments on WWE, I think, is like a lot of times, and AEW for that matter, a lot of times the best segments we get to build the match or build a character are put on Twitter. They're filmed and they're somewhere else. And it's like, why are we getting this backstage stuff? Put this shit on the main show.
I think of Ricochet and Ali.
Yeah.
And some of their best
that
work
wasn't even
on the
main roster.
They just filmed it, especially Ali. They just filmed it on their own. They even had a series, right?
For a main event, right?
Main event, which is just
best out of 3 or 2
makes
out of 3.
Makes my blood boil. Man, I agree with you. We've seen example after example, talent after talent who really spreads their wings online on Twitter, though, unfortunately, not on the USA Network or Fox.
So more of that, and some of these matches that have been really long, or the match that was like, I'm fighting you, and then boom, now we have it was on Raw this week. It was I think it was Drew and Theory, and then there was some interference by Sheamus, and then suddenly we have a tag match with Lashley and Drew against Sheamus and Theory. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, and I understand the point, but just start it with a tag match. This is weird. Theory was on my screen for 45 minutes, just getting the shit kicked out of him, and then losing at the end. And that's fine, but that could have been 20 minutes. You could have had promos in there. AEW does it so well, especially on Rampage, where it's like the match is over, boom, backstage segment, promo, boom, new match is starting. I love it. Even if the matches suck, even if the matchups I don't care about at all, because that's taped Rampage seems to be AEW Dark 2.0. It's still like, I love the way that it's put together and constructed for pacing and for just getting as many people on screen as possible in that time in a meaningful way, rather than just you're on there to be on there.
Exactly. Yeah. Those 2 hours every Wednesday just fly by. No time is wasted. And when you think about, maybe one time we should do this, when you sort of tally the amount of talent that they put on the show in only 2 hours, it's pretty astonishing.
Yeah.
And that, it kind of gives me shades of old NXT Black and Gold, where every segment matters and every moment on the show matters. Nothing is just fluff. Nothing is just there to fill time. But we also know that's the conundrum of Raw being 3 hours. Benefit, they get all that money coming in from sponsors, but
which is why it won't change. I don't think, even though that video from the Steve Austin podcast from years ago,
right,
keeps popping up on my timeline. I'm like, they're not changing it. Like the advertisers, the network, they want that case, especially now that people are watching probably a little bit more because Triple H is running things, and the booking's not going to suck. And I'm legitimately excited for tomorrow, because the show it's going to be the first show that is a Triple H show. We had a whole bunch of stuff happen with Bianca, and we know it's going to happen on Raw with the women's division. Holy cow, man. Like I can't wait.
Yeah.
So let's roll through some of these other matches really quickly, because probably won't spend a lot of time on them.
Let's do it.
McAfee versus Corbin. Thought it was kind of a sloppy match, but here's what I want to say about it. Pat McAfee, even Bianca and Becky at the beginning, looked like they were missing some things and maybe not getting their footing very well, or it all felt a little bit sloppy. It was 1,000,000 degrees and humid, and they were outdoors. I don't know what the condition of those ropes were with all that humidity under those lights. So if it's 102, 103 degrees, 98% humidity, it feels like whatever oven temp you have on for a pizza. On top of that, you have, if you've never been on a stage with the stage lights on, you have no idea how unbelievably hot that shit is. Like you have a heat cannon pointed at your face the entire time you're up there. It is easily 20 degrees hotter on a stage, maybe 30, than anywhere in the rest of the building. And if you can feel just the ambient heat coming off of those lights, those are like 10,000 watt light bulbs. They have to be hand blown, and they're hot as hell. So to have 30 of those things, maybe more, all pointed at you so everybody could see you clearly and so the cameras can get you, and you're outside and it's 100 degrees, shit's going to happen out there. It just is. What I respected and was so pumped about, and we were talking about this off air for a minute, is you keep going. If you're in theater, you don't stop and like start over. If you're in music and you screw up, you keep going. The drums are not waiting for you.
It's not like 2K where I have a couple turnovers and then I just say,
Just
you know
restart.
what?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Let me just restart.
Yeah.
I need Chris Paul's assist to turnover ratio to be at a specific number.
Yeah.
It's not like that though. I can't just restart the game.
No, it's not Tecmo Super Bowl in 1992. You can't just like restart the game because you don't have a blowout. It's not 42-0. It's 42-7 and you're pissed about it. Like no, you keep going. You have to, or someone's going to die. Like it just is. And watching these guys recover and these women recover and just keep going. Like McAfee jumped onto that top rope, slipped, landed on his knees, and was still like, nope, fuck it. I'm getting up, and still managed to get up and perform that superplex. And like, how big is Corbin? He's like 9 feet tall.
Yeah. He looks to be a solid 6'6", 6'7". That's a large man.
He's a huge human being that played, I believe, defense in the NFL, maybe offensive line. I can't remember, but he was. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I got excited. It was so, I don't know if serendipitous is the right word, but the fact that they were both with the Colts, like this story was just, that's pretty cool that it's comes full circle all these years later.
Yeah.
You can't just create that storyline like that. That's a pretty
awesome.
neat. That's a pretty neat deal. I'll give them.
So they were probably pumped about this. Like they probably had texts from former teammates, blowing up their phones. Like, oh, I've always wanted to fight somebody like this, like that kind of thing. I'm sure that happened. I really want to hear backstory on that. I think that would make it.
Before I forget, I have to ask you. I won't say anything additional after this one because this match was just it existed for me. Exactly. I popped when Baron Corbin said, "And the tight ends are never making the Super Bowl."
For no reason. He was bantering with Michael Cole.
Cole,
he shoved Cole. Like,
right.
What the hell's wrong with you? Get out of here.
Focus on him, not on me.
Yeah, and then he just kept staring down Michael Cole and this turned to the crowd randomly and said the Titans suck. They're never making a Super Bowl or whatever. And it was like, what?
Weren't some of the Titans behind Cole? Weren't some of them in attendance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a little more sense to me.
It was just such a weird transition. I laughed so hard. It's just like he's taking an absolute shot for no good reason other than I'm a heel and I'm dumping on them. And also I played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Amazing.
As I was watching this match, I want to say your prediction on our SummerSlam preview was that Corbin was going to win.
Yeah.
As I was watching, I was thinking, maybe this should go to Corbin. Like maybe this, McAfee isn't hurt at all losing.
No, he's a commentator.
But yeah, exactly. But ultimately,
now he's undefeated on the main roster.
I was gonna say. I guess my point is I was correct, Brad. Both celebrities won their matches, like you said. Logan Paul beat The Miz, skull crushing finale. Used his own finishing move against him. So disrespectful.
After a phenomenal forearm that was more of a mediocre forearm.
Yes. Yeah, and then we got AJ who appeared out of nowhere. That was kind of cool how they shot it, where Ciampa just turns around and AJ's flying. Right into his face. It's just wild to me that AJ wasn't on this card. I think the roster is just so impressive, and we know with these bigger shows, there's typically a celebrity tie-in.
There's Seth and Riddle.
Two of them. Yeah, exactly. I forget. Oh yeah, AJ Styles, future first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, Brad, he's got to be. This is all very. It's up to everyone's interpretation, but top 10, maybe all time in ring talent. He's just not on this card. Yeah. But he was there, and I don't need to see Ciampa in neon, neon Speedos moving forward.
No,
I'm glad he was there.
But I do need to see Ciampa and AJ.
Need it.
That's
20 minutes on Raw,
please. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm sad that they didn't get their time. I'm glad Riddle and Seth had their moment because I think Riddle is a great in-ring talent. I think Seth is one of, if not the best workers in the world from a character and work standpoint. I don't know that there's anybody better right now than him, except maybe Mox.
I don't disagree.
Maybe Roman. I don't know. Roman is not getting the credit that he deserves, man. Like it really pisses me off as a character and as a worker. Like what Roman has been doing in the ring to his body, telling stories is not getting enough love, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The best part of the match was when Pat's song ended, because that song sucks. But I did pop.
I'm glad we agree. Not a
I
fan.
did pop for the choir singing. He got a choir to sing the words "bum ass Corbin."
And this has been this
That made
point's
me
been
laugh.
made online already, and on Grapsity on Fightful. I think Phil Lindsay said this, and I thought about this instantly. The widest choir, Brad, that I have maybe
Yes.
ever seen in my Brad. You have to fill me in on the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Yeah.
I don't know if this group came from there or if they were a Nashville-based group, but my God, man, that was a very wide choir.
I had a back and forth with Phil after that. I retweeted that tweet with
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah,
that choir brings coffee, cake, and soup seasoned with just pepper to church events. And he said they're definitely putting raisins in the potato salad. And
I did not see that. Amazing.
yes.
Love it.
So the reason
you,
I
Phil.
bring that up is that is all based on experience. So yes, it's just like that.
Oh,
That's a shoot every Sunday morning, coffee cake in the basement. And then we had Lenten supper. And on Wednesdays we would have soup supper. We'd show up and it would be like pea soup with black pepper or white pepper in it. It's like blended peas and pepper. And wasn't anything wrong with it. It was fine, but it was just like the spiciest thing there was the pepper. So
I suddenly lost my appetite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As you are right to do. But I digress. Yes. Incredibly white choir. You're in Tennessee, man. What are you doing? You're in Nashville. Come on now.
Do better.
We next or earlier in the card, I guess we're going in reverse order. The Mysterios, Judgment Day, that happened. Edge returned, Brood City. They acted like it was a surprise on commentary, like we didn't all know it was coming. I have nothing to add. Glad it's over.
Yeah, same here. I want better for Finn Balor. I know you want better for Rhea Ripley, and
for Finn, and for Damian,
Yeah, and to me,
and for the Mysterios. Well, Ray.
Yeah, to me, I think the nod of credit I will give to the group, although it's kind of hard to do based on their creative or lack thereof, is that Rhea to me feels like the star of this trio. I think that's a really cool element that unfortunately Finn took the pin and Damian Priest is the heavy, but Rhea to me seems like the real piece in this group. Like to me, she seems like the leader, which I am here for, and I think that's pretty awesome. So I just have a lot of hope for this group, man. But like you said, Edge was there, very predictable. This point has also been made online, and I agree with it. I don't understand why we're cheering Edge. He was a despicable heel a few months ago, and then the group he helped form, the diabolical group he helped form, beat him up, replaced him with Finn. Edge comes back, and now he's a babyface? Question mark? Who we should cheer for?
Yeah.
Even though he was saying we all smell and we are plebes, not even a month or two ago. So yeah. I don't love that. He's got the red jacket. Just the whole fit wasn't really working for me, man.
No, it was weird.
Maybe I miss his old song. Maybe I'm not ready for him to jump back into full Brood. But this match was kind of a down point on the card for me. Dominic Mysterio didn't turn. Ray, if I may borrow your terminology, is a human cheat code. This man is in a healthy way in his 40s. I think you say he's like 46 or 47.
47 years old.
And I would argue he moves as well as he did. I don't know if I want to say during his WCW days because he was just ridiculous. But
yeah, he was a rubber band.
But yeah, I mean, he looks phenomenal. I was really blown away with how quick he is, Brad. Those German stem cells are working, and Ray is one of my all-time favorites. So down point on the card for me, but great to see Ray on a pay-per-view. He got the win, and I think I'm leaving thinking Rhea is the star of all of this.
If they don't have the Brood Vader come up, and Gangrel does not need to come out to the ring, but Gangrel needs to come up the Brood Vader with Edge, then I'll believe that it's the Brood.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just Edge in a red jacket for whatever reason. I don't know what it wasn't even a long one. Like that's the thing. It's like it wasn't even an Edge jacket. It was like a bomber jacket that was red. Yeah, it was weird. I don't get the look.
And the new shirt on the rebranded WWEshop.com totally got rid of the clearance. Excuse me, the clearance section, Brad. That used to be our jam.
Yeah.
You go on there, you find a $5 to $10 tee, that's gone now. It's a Fanatics branded website.
I'm going to say this. It's gone because we don't know who else is.
There you go.
Big sale on Kevin Dunn shirts coming up, maybe?
I'm just not in love with the new tee, the black and red, and it's not for me.
Well, that was all in the works before Vince left. So
Exactly.
That tee doesn't appear overnight. It's not pro wrestling tees. They have much more to go through in order to do that. They probably already printed a ton for sale, and I don't know. I'm good. Bobby Lashley, he caught Theory in this really sweet counter it was A-Town down, right? Like that was the counter. And put him in the hurt lock. I have nothing to add. Do you have anything to add?
Bobby Lashley is over in
Yes,
Nashville.
he is.
That was great to see.
And I do want to say I was super excited to see that he wore the black and gold pants. And then in the post match interview that also only went out online, he was wearing the almighty Bobby Lashley tee that was reminiscent of the black and gold Hurt Lock. It looked like the Hurt Business tees. And I'm pretty sure it was a Hurt Business Bobby Lashley tee.
I missed that.
Maybe that's promising. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe we get the Hurt Business teams to come back. I need MVP. Throw Omos in there. Who cares? Have that big sumbitch come out in a suit. Like, that would be amazing.
Brad, my issue with you is that I am here for your creative. I'm just going to be very sad when your creative doesn't happen, which we will get to later. My man, don't think I'm letting you off the hook. We will get there later.
Hey, you believe me. That's your fault.
Logan Paul. George Romero and I believed you, absolutely.
That Logan Paul match with The Miz, it happened.
Yeah.
Bianca. No, I want to say Bianca Becky. Let's get to Liv and Ronda and the most confusing ending in the world. This match sucked. Ronda got all the offense in the world. Liv got nothing. And then she tapped out, but she didn't tap out. She got the pin while tapping out. Ronda gets pissed, starts taking out everybody, turning heel, we think, but I don't know because I kind of feel like Liv's the heel here. And that was a heel move. So I don't know what the hell to think here. This was a very ineffective, confusing thing to have happen, which I don't know that I hate a lot. I'm here for Shades of Grey if this is the way we're going. Like it can work. Best friends with Orange Cassidy when Orange wrestled Wardlow in the beginning. They're like, our strategy, we're going to cheat a lot. And they brought out like a chainsaw and Danhausen and all this shit. Like they're the good guys, but they're doing all this heel stuff to get the dub.
Our future inaugural trios champions.
Yes,
the best friends. Let's just speak into existence.
That would be great. I would love Orange Cassidy with gold. And actually I would like best friends with gold too, but
the chainsaw.
But man, I popped so hard for that. That was so funny, but that worked because they're good guys, but they're not that good. They're not gonna not cheat. And I feel a little bit like maybe that's what they do with Liv, but she's this big crowds behind her baby face, white meat baby face.
Yeah, pure.
And not anymore.
No.
But Ronda was chirping at the crowd during the match, like she was turning during the match, and it was like, I want that. I want heel Ronda. You
want a piece of Liv.
Yeah,
you want her flesh.
Yeah, okay. I like that stuff. Let her be heel, and she'll be great. She's so much better than a baby face because she sucks as a baby face. But is she a heel now? It's so confusing.
I think so. I think I totally agree with you about the gray for both of them, really. But to me, this is clearly going Ronda turns heel, potentially setting up Ronda versus Becky at Mania in LA down the road next spring. But Ronda is turning heel here. And I think Liv, I could absolutely see the shades of gray, but I think she's a baby face, man. I think this is I think they'll find a way to explain this off, and we'll still cheer for her as vehemently as we've been doing. Man, this match under 5 minutes, completely Ronda dominated. I know there's a believability sense of, we know Ronda's gonna pretty much destroy Liv in a match, just based on their backgrounds. But Brad, this was the match I was most looking forward to heading into SummerSlam, and it just disappointed me wholeheartedly. I know styles make fights, and I don't know why I didn't consider that these two their styles were not going to mesh well whatsoever.
I looked at my phone for time for Roman Reigns, and I believe it was 8:31. It was 8 something one when he started walking out. And it was like 8:36 or whatever it was, 6. It took over 5 minutes for Roman to enter and get to the ring before Brock's music hit. Roman's entrance was longer than this match. Roman's entrance was longer than the United States Championship match, which I'm fine with because Theory getting killed is funny. And I love Bobby. And the fact that your SmackDown Women's Championship is getting less than 5 minutes on the second biggest, arguably the second or third biggest pay-per-view of the year, a premium live event of the year, is really an indictment on your trust with those two. And I don't know that it's on Liv. I don't know that Ronda can put on a convincing 10-minute match with somebody or 20-minute match with somebody if it's not a no DQ match.
Yeah.
So that's, maybe that's unfair to Ronda because, like, I don't think nobody in the world thinks that anybody that Ronda gets in the ring with, Ronda could kill. Like, almost anybody in that locker room. Like, the only person that I could see staving her off is Brock, Bobby, and Riddle, because they're all and
MMA backgrounds. Yeah,
they all have fighting backgrounds. Everybody else is like, you put Ronda in there with Roman Reigns, and Ronda's the new undisputed Universal Champion.
Okay, hot take.
Oh, not even. Like, she's so much quicker.
Twitter poll, perhaps.
Get him from behind, put him in that ankle lock, and he is tapping out. Like,
well, that's the thing about this match, where it was just armbar city for 5 minutes. It wasn't even like, let's go just insane for 5.
That good knee to the face. There was that really good running knee that Ronda had.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I want to see from her.
Yeah,
not those shitty strikes in the corner.
Yeah, this was a real low point for me, I think, because of how high my expectations were and how much I was looking forward to.
You said this was going to be your match of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought this was going to be, I even put a separate tweet out declaring that this would be Liv's hopefully first successful title defense. Like, this would be a really meaningful match in her career. And perhaps we'll look back in a few weeks or a few months and it will be. But I'm just worried that she got the victory in I don't know if we want to call it a heelish way, right? But she clearly tapped between the 2 and 3 count. Ronda had the arm bar, but Liv was able to, stack her shoulders and pin her. But she clearly tapped before the 3. Ronda gets upset for good reason, like you said, Brad. I want to give creative some. I want to trust in them that they'll explain this and that we'll still be off to the races with Liv.
We'll get it.
What I'm worried about is that this is an easy point to make, and I'm not a Charlotte hater by any means. But I'm worried that Charlotte comes back. I'm worried that either Ronda gets a rematch and beats Liv for the title relatively soon, or Charlotte comes back and in a month, whatever the next pay-per-view is after Clash at the Castle, Charlotte defeats Liv, and then we have Nikki ASH all over again. A short run for Liv. She defends it at SummerSlam, but then before we know it, it's off her and Liv drops down. I don't want that at all for Liv.
My fantasy booking for that is, because I don't want that at all either. But I would be fine with Liv losing if they say, like, but you're not getting this. You already had a rematch. You're not getting another one, Ronda. But you can win your way into this if you want to. But the new number 1 contender for it is already Shayna. And then we get a triple threat with Shayna and Ronda and Liv. I'm here for that few.
And if Liv were to end up dropping it to the NXT Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler, I would be fine with that. Like, that's how these things work. But I just want Liv to have a meaningful title reign. And I don't know what that means for me in terms of, how long that has to be. I know she's probably not going to hold it until Mania, maybe not even Royal Rumble. But I want good things for her. And I don't want this to be the booking of Nikki ASH all over again.
Yeah, I really don't want to see that happen. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. Tyler, I just sent you an image that was sent to me, and it is, we will not discuss it, but it is staggering. Yeah, I'm ready to move on. I can't.
Miranda things. Miranda, Arizona things. I'll try to get it together.
I don't even know what to say to it other than it feels like it's got kid bandit vibes. let's shout out to Kid Bandit. Let's move on. I don't know how to, but let's move on to my favorite pure wrestling match of the night, and it's not close. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. These two have incredible chemistry together. I'm glad their feud is done, but I'm happy we got it. And I felt like this was one of those feuds that was a long-term feud that actually worked, that they did well, that they spaced it out. It was running throughout the whole thing. There was the I can't beat you at SummerSlam. There was the, oh, I finally overcame you and won back my title. Tyler, I really enjoyed this match. They had a couple of slips and stuff, but like I said with the Pat McAfee things, they just kept it together and kept going. It's a live performance. Shit happens. It's different if it's like the spots themselves were stupid and somebody got hurt. Totally different scenario. But this match was so good. These two together are so good. I loved the finish. I loved how hard Becky was working to cheat to win. The hair to the outside. Good God. All of the hair spots tonight just made me grimace. Like Freya will often like try to comb my hair or something, and she'll just get a tuft of it and just start pulling with her hand, because she knows absolutely she knows what she's doing. And I can't imagine somebody grabbing my whole dome rope and just pulling on it like you're trying to dock a ship. Like that's got to hurt so bad. So loved this. What did you think of the match before we talk about the post-match angle, which I popped multiple times for?
Yeah, very good match. If we compare it to the WrestleMania match, I don't know that it quite reached that height, but for all the reasons you said and given the circumstances and everything you so perfectly laid out, really enjoyed this match. Probably, I think the main event was my match of the night, which I know we'll get to.
It was my match of the night, yes. But
yeah,
just a pure wrestling match. This was,
but yeah, exactly. If we're talking pure wrestling match in ring work, as you laid out, yeah, absolutely. This was it. This was a perfect opener. You even called it beforehand. I don't know if you read a report or you read the dirt sheets.
No, but I did. I have
several days for you then.
After days after that report came out.
Okay, yeah.
Wanted to put that out there.
Perfect opener. My takeaway was that obviously I was more excited for Liv versus Ronda, but clearly I shouldn't have been. I didn't realize just how much it would mean for me, for my SummerSlam demons to be exercised in this match. I think in our preview episode with George Romero, the awesome George Romero, you mentioned how last year's SummerSlam, very different outcome for Bianca, right? Bianca got manhandled, slam, 30 seconds or less, new champion. And I still am scarred from that. So this match did a lot for me in my psyche. Like you said, these are just two absolute titans of the women's division. Not even just the women's division, just two absolute faces of the company. I love this, and I love what we saw after Bianca retained.
Man, when Bayley's music hit, the crowd started I don't think the crowd quite got it at first, and then everybody went nuts because it's been so long since we've heard her music.
Yeah,
it's like forgot what it was.
Who is this?
You hear that what's another choir?
Yeah,
it was.
Exactly.
I love her theme.
Yeah, awesome. Great outfit. Like she came with the all white.
Yeah, she was like
superstar,
like lady wrestler stormtrooper gear, and came out. Which is why when I saw it was sort of stormtrooper-esque, I was like, oh, okay, she's still heel. Absolutely, and she was smiling, soaking it in. I mean, she deserved that crowd, man. She got so screwed carrying the company and then really not having fans to interact with through the bulk of it because of the pandemic, and then getting hurt and then full attendance back. I feel so bad for her. So I was really happy for Bayley getting to see all of the fans and then coming out saying like, you think I'm going to let you keep that championship? And then music hit and it's like, you think I came alone? And then the first person out, correct me if I'm wrong, we get Dakota Kai.
Yes, you're right.
The returning to WWE Dakota Kai. I am so happy for her.
Oh my gosh.
Never should have been released. What a mistake.
No.
What an absolute dreadful mistake.
The magic of Triple H being in charge, man.
Yeah, I'm so glad that she waited to sign because this is where she belongs. It's the perfect fit for her. Don't get me wrong. I would have loved to see her in AEW. Would have loved to see her just being happy wrestling somewhere. Impact
Sure.
women's division could have worked.
Sure.
Probably,
Could see her
but
all those places, yeah.
I could see her in New Japan more than anywhere else.
Right. But Triple
But
H has clearly been putting in some calls over the last month or
thrilled.
two.
With EO going, my contract's up. I'm dipping. There's nothing for me here. I've peaked in
Right.
NXT.
Right.
Which is
She's just not
she has.
being placed on TV at all.
Which is stupid.
Right.
NXT 2.0 is a dumpster. I'm sorry. I hate that product so much. I would rather watch like mid 2000s Raw. Okay. Like 2010 Raw, 11 Raw.
Oh, okay. Now that's disrespectful territory. But you're not wrong. It's not a great show, and I do not watch it consistently.
Great talent.
Yes.
Not saying anything about the talent. Booked very poorly.
Yeah.
Right now. I think that'll change. Tyler, man, when EO's music played, I yelled. I was in my house by myself. I scared my dog.
My question for you, if we were following the traditional format for our episode, was going to be not just what are your thoughts on this, but what was the decibel level in the Winchester home when the Genius of the Sky arrived?
It was 6. It for those of you wondering, I believe standard podcast volume is -3. So we were definitely peaking in the Winchester household. It was loud. When I heard that like weird electronic bass start playing, and I knew exactly what was happening.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I was
It was
great.
Because
confusing as hell. If you know she's coming, change the goddamn graphic.
Exactly.
If you're gonna change her name. Because it says Io Shirai splashed across the screen. They're like,
we don't know who that is anymore.
It's Io Sky. And it was like, who? I thought they made a mistake commenting.
Yeah, you texted me, what the hell did Corey call it?
Yeah, I was like, Io Sky. You can't. I don't care that they changed the name. I think it's great. If you're gonna,
it's not a bad name.
To be Empress of Skies, Io Sky makes sense. Like if you're gonna do that, and I like that they changed it to IYO. Maybe making it easier to pronounce for people that can't figure it out.
That's true. Yeah, good call.
But people are going to call her Io, so it's irrelevant. But Sky is maybe it's a more identifiable than Shirai. Feels a little too porn star for me. But you know what? If you can market it and you own the trademark to that name, cool. Because what that said to me right away was they changed her name, they trademarked that name. She just got a contract. There's no way she's not signed now.
Sure.
If they're going to invest time and money and trademarks into a talent like that. And Tyler, I'm so happy Io's on the main roster. She might be a heel, but I'm cheering for her. I don't care what she does. I love her, man. Like she's so good.
Yeah, you're not alone in that regard. I think the pop for you, for me, for probably those who are listening and viewing, and thank you if you're listening and viewing. We appreciate you. Hopefully you hit that like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I think what popped us, Brad, was that when you got Bayley and Dakota, logically it seems okay. Now it's going to be well, we didn't know this at the time, but Becky joined forces with Bianca.
Certainly figured Becky was going to back up Bianca. It was pretty clear. I was like, why did Becky go back to commentary for that spot? It was like she left, but she didn't go back to the back. She went behind the ring, and I was like, something's happening. And then Bayley's music hit, obviously, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. But as soon as Dakota came out, I was like, oh, Becky's going to come up. Had no idea a third person was coming. Triple H was like, I am here.
Hold my beer. Yeah.
Oh, my God. And to find out per Fightful that this was a faction that was pitched and turned down by Vince.
Wow.
Good Lord, man.
I missed that.
Yeah. This was pitched and then different iterations, and they all got denied. Wow. The first thing Triple H coming up and being like, I'm head of creative. This is our faction. It's Bayley, Io, and Dakota.
Yeah.
And it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Bayley as a mouthpiece. Dakota can talk, but perfect person to have leading the faction, is one of the best workers in the world, one of the best characters in the world, with 2 incredible talents that are on the rise. And then finally people that haven't been watching NXT, and I don't mean 2.0, NXT, proper NXT, not that dog shit they're putting out now. People are going to get to see them for the first time, and I'm so excited for it because they're great.
And if the women's tag division improves, if the belts come back, if there's a tournament, I think Io and Dakota are absolutely the front runners. I will confess my final words on this awesome way to open the show is that when the three of them, Bailey's new faction, came in the ring and was staring down Bianca,
Oh,
I know
where you're going.
you,
Yeah.
myself, and
I
the
was texting you.
yes, and the millions of others that were watching on Peacock with us, and probably those in the audience thought, "Oh man, this is perfectly set up for two people to return to the company." Of course, we're referring to the former tag team champions, really still the tag team champions,
Yeah.
Sasha Banks and Naomi. And we didn't get that, but I felt like it wasn't a case where that affected our enjoyment of what we just saw, because again, Becky comes in and Bianca and Becky forming is really cool. Out of respect for each other, they're now teaming up. But I think in any other case, man, it would have been like, oh no, it's a no-brainer for Sasha and Naomi to come out, and then we get a 6-woman situation. But I thought this worked well even without their surprise returns. Becky and Bianca are going to be a force, and clearly, Brad, you would think that there has to be a third woman on board. So if we can bring it back to Bash at the Beach 96, I wonder who the third person is. Is Asuka too much of a layup?
Asuka makes perfect sense. I would love Asuka. I would love it to be Asuka.
It's probably going to be her, right?
Asuka versus Io doing a Joshi match and letting them just go.
Need it.
I think that would change the landscape of American professional wrestling in the mainstream product. You're getting that in bits and pieces here, like Yamashita and Thunder Rosa this past week gave us that working just incredibly stiff, just drilling each other. That Asuka and Io would do that to each other, and it would be incredible. I think it would change the game for WWE going forward. I really believe that. I don't think it'll happen right away, but if Sasha's not returning, she left the baby face. Her return, she's going to be a baby face. So if you could get Sasha as the third person, I think that would be the best case scenario. I don't know what you do with Naomi other than I don't want Naomi with Sasha. I don't want Naomi doing her own thing right now. I do want her doing her own thing, but she needs to show up backing up the bloodline. Like, she needs to be part of the bloodline. She's married into the family. She needs to be that female piece of the bloodline. I want her coming out, and I just want her to show up and during the match and just point to the sky and just do this. And that's how we find out, and everybody will go nuts.
As usual, man, your creative is on point. I'm here for it. I do think there's a likelihood that actually happens, though. I would be here for it.
I hope a lot of sense. I hope it does. Triple H is running things. Right? He has a relationship with both of these women. Right. He was there and pushed her to the moon, and Sasha went to the main roster and she's the boss. I don't have anything to add to that. I hope it happens. There's a lot of things I hope happen. I hope Bray would happen. That didn't happen. Speaking of Bray, let's go to the main event where I thought Bray would maybe make an appearance. I really thought it would be as soon as Theory cashed in. Instead, Theory gets his face super kicked off, and he gets his briefcase taken to use as a weapon to beat the shit out of Brock Lesnar. This match was nuts. Slow to start, slow pace, just absolute haymakers from each of these guys until Brock took control and just started beating the piss out of Roman Reigns all over the ring. And then Roman got Superman punch, spear. Brock wouldn't stay down. Tyler, there was a tractor. Here's my criticism of this entire thing. Roman coming down and the tractor took way too long. It was such a long wait to get this match started. It was 10-15 minutes probably before the match actually got underway, and it was just too much. It's not Stone Cold coming down the ramp with a beer truck. That was a minute or two, because that thing was flying down the ring. It even hit the ring. Brock coming down, that SummerSlam ramp was longer than Mania ramps. It was longer than the Mania ramp this year. It was that ramp was it 2016, I think, when the Hardys came back. I don't remember what year it was. Maybe it was later, or 18. I don't remember 17. When they came back and they walked down that ramp, and there's that long shot of them returning, and you can just see how long that ramp is.
Oh yeah.
SummerSlam was like that, and then it curved. There was a turn in the middle of the walkway. So it was what the hell are we doing here? What a weird way to set this up. It
Yeah,
must
it was
have been
very
the
odd.
only way to do it, but yeah, it was a really awkward thing. But so Brock's takes forever to get the thing started, gets the tractor lifted into the air, then gets going, and he's laughing the whole way down, and the slow turn around the corner, and then he got there, and then we had to wait for him to crawl his big ass up to the bucket. And then finally, right before the match started, he leaps out and takes out Roman. I thought the start of that match ruled. It was just way too long to start. But otherwise, I thought this was awesome. It was a fun match. It was a match we didn't get to see them do before. A last man standing match, I did not have Roman coming away from without cheating. Exactly what happened. Theory trying to cash in might have been my moment of the night. Just to get like absolutely lit up and just this moment taken away
he
from
will
him.
not be cashing in tonight.
I thought it was
That is
great.
not how we're ending SummerSlam.
No, I thought it was so good. I liked the finish that Brock is this unkillable monster and they had to beat the shit out of him and then stack everything on top of him to keep him down.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Obviously the moment though of the match, a visual I have never seen in my life is that ring lifted up on one side, Roman spilling out of it. But the angle of the ring,
Ragdoll. Yeah.
it was one of those moments where it hasn't happened very often. I think the first time we saw the ring break, I don't remember who it was. Was it Mark Henry and Big Show? That superplex? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think was that okay.
He got Strowman later on.
My mind goes to Brock and Big Show.
Oh, maybe it was Brock.
I think it was. I mean, Mark and Big Show certainly could have had it. I think you might be thinking of SmackDown with Brock and Big Show.
I can't remember. There was the SmackDown ring collapses.
And then my favorite part of that, the ref bump out of the ring.
Yeah, it was Brock and Big Show. Yeah,
okay,
it was.
I thought so.
Where he like bounced and then over.
Great ref.
He's a great sell.
Yes,
that ref. Amazing. It was Brock and Big Show.
Okay,
that was the first time, 2003, early Brock Lesnar.
Here comes the pain era.
Yes, yeah. The next big thing, Brock Lesnar.
Yes, that's right. Young Paul Heyman.
Yes. Young everybody.
Young everybody. Young us.
Paul White was only like 6-7 years into his career at that point, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ring breakage, I remember watching. I didn't see it live. I wasn't watching at that point, but watching it back, that and I think maybe Edge's spear off the top of the ladder. I'm not really sure. There's moments like that where you haven't seen it before. Mick falling off Hell in the Cell. Crowds weren't doing holy shit chants then. Brock flipped that ring up. The crowd didn't holy shit chant. Do you remember what the crowd did?
No, I don't.
It was just ambient noise. It was like, what?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I just hear here, and that was that was what happened with those other matches. Those moments were like, what just happened? Everybody's like, oh my god, I've never seen anything like this. That's what people were doing.
Sure,
and it was just like they let it sit for a long while to let it just sink in. And I really appreciated they didn't rush to do something with it because the crowd was talking about it. Michael Cole, MVP of the show, Michael Cole, and it's not even close. Freed up Michael Cole is amazing. Tyler, the end of that match, and then I'm going to pass it to you here, when Michael Cole started yelling, "For the love of God, count faster," because he's seen enough brutality for the evening. Yeah. Like the ring is destroyed. Theory's dead. People are.
And one of the Usos just like yeets the steel steps onto Brock.
Yes.
Who already has the rubble built up on him.
Yeah, and you could hear him like yell. That was probably a receipt for suplexing him onto his head.
Yes,
Jay almost died.
I was so worried after that. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, well, Jimmy ate one too. It's just the angle that it was shot didn't look as bad, but he landed the same way, and it was just it was ugly. But yeah, the end of that, and Michael Cole was great. Corey Graves saying, "I liked it better when you didn't have an opinion." That was great. I thought Corey Graves, his cadence and stuff. I think just the way he speaks sounds manufactured and sounds scripted and sounds made up. Sometimes it's not. That dude is just that good. And I think it's time we have to. And I've been like, I don't like listening to Corey Graves, all that. I think that dude is maybe the best commentator in the world. I love listening to Michael Cole, but Corey Graves deserves some damn credit.
Well,
Like he's just really, really, really good. I have nothing else to add. I thought this match, for what it was and what it needed to be and how it ended, was pitch perfect. Tyler, what were your thoughts?
yeah, this was my favorite Roman Brock. We've seen so many of them. I think this is the 10th installment, perhaps. I'm exaggerating slightly, but am I? This was my
6
favorite.
or 7, right?
Yeah, this was my favorite match. I mean, maybe I would need to go back and give a full view, reviewing of all of them, but this is my favorite that we've seen in quite a while. Maybe, frankly, of any of their matches. Certainly more so than WrestleMania. The WrestleMania from Levi Stadium is different because then Seth cashed in, and that's probably number one for me. But yeah, man, this was good. This was a spectacle. This was, to me, the best case scenario of what this match could be in terms of the layout, in terms of that ring spot, in terms of the outcome of Roman retaining. You know, I'm always worried when Brock is in title matches. I always think he has a puncher's chance, if you will, and he did not win, which in this case made me happy. I am most curious, and I won't give you too much of a hard time about Bray. We don't need to spend several minutes on it, but I'm still holding out hope, Brad, that one of these, I know what's going to happen, one of these shows, and most likely a WWE show now. So I'm hoping that's going to happen, but I was a little sad it did not. I am really interested to see what the future is for Brock in WWE. You mentioned on the previous episode of GI that there was a report, I think originally from Fightful, I could be wrong, feel free to correct me, that stated Brock was upset when Vince was removed, right?
Yeah,
he allegedly, he allegedly walked out of SmackDown. And basically the idea is like, no more Vince, no more Brock.
Yeah, he said, if he's gone, I'm gone.
Yeah, so to me, and maybe I'm reading a little too much into that, but to me, based on this match, based on, I'm sure you saw the photos on Twitter after the match where Brock gets in the ring, that's still tilted on one side. He puts on the cowboy hat and just sits there. Yeah, it's awesome. Again, first ballot Hall of Famer, once in a generation talent. To me, this very much felt like, okay, this was Brock's swan song, if you will. Like, we're not going to see, I could be completely wrong, Brad. We'll have this conversation in March. But to me, it felt like, well, maybe we don't need Brock at the Rumble or at Mania. Maybe this is him going away for a bit because we've told a lot of stories with him. And I certainly don't believe that we need him in the title picture anymore. And I'm hoping that with Triple H at the helm, if Brock does come back, it's in a spotlighted match on the card, but it is not for the main prize for the world title, because he just doesn't need it anymore. So I was happy. I was happy on all fronts. Roman retains. Theory gets wrecked. Brock looks amazing, but does not walk out with gold. And we don't need him at every super show anymore.
Absolutely not. I have a couple of thoughts here. Maybe Theory still has the briefcase by the Rumble, and Theory's talking mad shit, and he's fighting people, but he's beating people that are like, he's going to be, he's cheating and he's blah, 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 doing all this stuff. And he's just saying he's unstoppable and he can't wait to cash in. And that's when Brock's music hits and we get Brock coming in and just beating the piss out of Theory. And that's all he does. He comes in, kills him and leaves. I think that would be a fun spot for Brock. I think the crowd would pop huge. He's not in the title picture, but you get to see Brock go in there and do Brock things, put him in Suplex City, do his little bounce.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
I love watching, man, when he does that little bounce. My thought was, and we'll end and then we'll transition. I had a feeling, even though we were like, we're not going to go match by match, we ended up going match by match.
We said 25 minutes blocked off for SummerSlam reactions.
It's been 58 so far as we record it, whatever that is with videos and whatnot. Yeah. So we both were complaining about Roman entering first. It now makes complete sense why he had to. Well, is he going to go around a tractor? Like, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, let it play out, pal. Type of situation.
Yeah, they could have easily had commentary say Roman has decided to not take his champion's advantage, and he wanted to come out first tonight. And that's it. Easy, done, explained. That's why Roman came out. Roman wanted to, because they did that before, and I don't remember who his match was against, but Roman wanted to come out first. And that's all they have to say. So I
Yeah.
think they could have done that, and that would have been an easy
I wonder if that was
explanation.
with Seth at the Rumble, right? Because
Oh,
wasn't
yes, it
Roman in the
was. It
ring when
was.
Seth made his Shield entrance?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
then the Shield music played and people
Yeah.
went nuts. And then Seth came down, but he came down cackling, which I love that he was wearing the Shield gear, but he was just laughing. And I also love that he had to get it from like his mom or something, had to help him out because they didn't have the gear.
Oh,
He recently did that. He did that interview where he talked about various feuds and the way he looks at the business and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But I guess before that match, he didn't have any of his stuff and he needed to get stuff, so his mom had to help him out.
You
Which
are
I think
up.
is
You
great.
are up on
Yeah.
your interviews, my dude. I'm so impressed. I did not know that, and that's easily my favorite story of the week now.
Yeah, it's wholesome as hell when you hear these like big, giant, jack, tough guy wrestlers are like, I had to call my grandma
Still need
and
it,
get
yeah.
like I just love that stuff so much. That's the stuff that I think humanizes them more than anything they could ever do in the ring, which is why I wish there was more of that stuff out there for people. But I also understand that's a little bit how the sausage is made, and we don't need to know that because it takes us away from those characters.
Mhm.
So I don't know, finding that balance, but I like that stuff. Tyler, final thought. This made me so hopeful for the future. I'm actually excited about Raw. I don't know if you've seen that match on SmackDown yet between Drew and Sheamus. You got to go watch it.
The
It's
Donnybrook.
it's absolutely amazing. It's maybe their finest performance together, and that's certainly saying something because they have had some bangers, including the one we saw in Tucson, which was a lot of fun. This was really good. This was two sirloin sons of bitches beating the piss out of each other.
Which what more can we really ask for, right?
Exactly.
I agree with you. I share that optimism, Brad. If we were to rank this on a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably a 7 for me. But
As a whole show, I agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
as a whole show, but leaving with a lot of optimism, and I think truly the best is yet to come.
You throw just match 1 and match 2 at me, I'm going to assume the rest is a 10. Like the show was WWE show of the year, maybe outside of WrestleMania night 1. If you count them as night 1 and 2, this was show of the year for me in terms of quality of matches and whatnot. At SummerSlam, they gave us a spectacle. This was like, I think I called it SummerSlam Mania, and in a tweet or a text last night. It felt very WrestleMania. So we got to go out of our way here and give Triple H his flowers.
Yeah.
But while we're doing that, Tyler, it's time for you to give us one of your flowers. It is time for a rose from Tyler.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
So let me start by saying I am upset at you because I heard you mention the Seth story warmed your heart. And I've just been thinking for the last 90 seconds, how can I spin that warming heart into a rose from me? But you beat me to it. So I applaud you. I'm upset at you. But I will somehow continue on. So Brad, episode 3 of The Bachelorette. Boy, this was an eventful episode, but my least favorite so far of the season. The show is very confusing at this point. So first, let me say that last week, episode 2, I shared with you that Rachel, one of the 2 bachelorettes, the pilot from Florida, was having some doubts about just some self-confidence doubts, and Gabby was just seemingly way more successful with the men than Rachel was. That completely flipped in episode 3, Brad. Rachel is now experiencing success and feeling that confidence, and Gabby is not feeling the love from the guys. However, this episode ended with the moment that we knew was arriving. We just didn't think it was arriving so soon. The men, the cast, are now split into 2. There are men who have declared they are here for Rachel, and there are men who have declared they are here for Gabby. No more of this intermingling. Now we have 2 clearly defined sides. So, as follows, this is the suitors list for Gabby, and shout out to the Today Show. I am borrowing this information from their website. Gabby's suitors are as follows. These names mean nothing to you, but they should, Brad. Jason, Kirk, Johnny, Mario, Nate, Eric with a CH at the end, predicted heel, Spencer, Michael, and Quincy. And I think Gabby has at least 3 brothers in this group. So we like Gabby's roster. Rachel has less, though, Brad. So this was the really dramatic part of the episode. Some real shock value is the episode, of course, ended with the rose ceremony. Rachel, Brad, gave out about 3 to 4 roses from men who then turned it down. And I don't think we've ever seen that before in the history of this franchise. She said, Tremaine, come on down. Like, will you accept this rose from me? And Tremaine said, you know about that, I actually can't. I want to pursue Gabby. So then Tremaine gets back in line with the other men. Rachel has to toss the rose aside. That rose is no longer valid. And it just so happened, Brad, that Tremaine, and again, I think about 3 other dudes, turned down Rachel. But Gabby did not end up giving them a rose. So there were a lot of dudes who got the boot and presumably made a huge mistake because their bet on their connection with Gabby was for naught. So Rachel, I say all that, Brad, because Rachel has a slightly smaller group of men. She has Tino, Jordan, Aven's a brother, so there's at least one here, Ethan, Hayden, Tyler, great name, Logan, and Zach. So a good point here is that we are hopefully going to shed some of that confusion. This is the first time there have been 2 bachelorettes in the history of this franchise. So the format just felt a little wonky on this episode. It's just kind of all over the place. And to me, it seems like production even doesn't know what they're doing. They're just running with this concept and hoping it draws ratings. I'm hopeful, Brad, heading into this next episode 4, that we will have some more clearly defined episodes, and the flow of it, the rose ceremonies, the dates, etc., will make more sense now that we have 2 different camps. I do finally want to plug our website, gimmickinfringementpod.com. As you are listening to this, you are also able to read my latest article, my latest Rose Report. In that article, I am making predictions for the rest of the season. Specifically, Brad, who is going to end up with the final rose for Rachel and for Gabby. Gimmickinfringementpod.com. Check it out. And check out The Bachelorette every Monday on ABC, 7 p.m. Arizona time.
Thank you for that. While you were talking, I was checking out a couple of things. Vulture had a recap of the episode because I was really interested in the rose ceremony, and it just said something like, "This is an awful end to a rose ceremony," and all this. And it's like, wait a second, who's that waiting in the bushes? It's Meatball. Like there's just
Yes. Meatballs. Yeah. Meatball was one. Thank you, Brad. Meatball. I love the commitment from you here. This is a great surprise. Meatball.
I told you, I am genuinely interested in this. I don't want to watch it. Fuck, dude. You know how much wrestling content I absorb a week?
Too much.
Holy shit.
Meatball.
I can't do this.
Meatball is this guy's work name, obviously. I think his shoot name is James. He's like 25 or 26. He's from, I want to say, Illinois. He's not really worth me looking this up, though. Not because he's, I'm sure, not a decent human, but because he has no shot of winning, Brad. He's actually one of the people that turned down Rachel.
Okay.
And then bet on his relationship with Gabby, but Gabby did not end up giving him a rose. So he got the boot. And the episode, to your point, ended with Meatball approaching Rachel outside and saying, "Hey, I think I made a mistake. I think there could be something here between us. I just haven't had enough time with you." And thus, Cliffhanger Jones. Maybe Meatball is back. But it really doesn't matter because this dude is not winning, Brad. There is no shot that he ends up with the final rose, even if Rachel does accept him back.
You can't have your winner be a man named
Meatball.
Meatball.
And if I were Rachel, this dude turned me down to go with my homegirl 10 minutes ago. But now that he's been given the boot, he wants back and wants to give us a shot. No, thank you. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, hard pass.
Good call.
All right, Tyler. We're pretty deep into this pod already. We're at 108. Let's get to some AEW talk.
Yeah, Brad. For me, an awesome edition of Dynamite. Incredible. And maybe not as high on Rampage this week, but when I reflect on Dynamite, we saw so much action. You and I spoke before our recording. Roosh although I was not familiar with his work prior to AEW,
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying everything that guy does. But, and you mentioned the Thunder Rosa match earlier as well. But for me, the conversation about AEW from this past week has to start and end with absolute Ricky Starks and that beautiful, newsworthy, I mean, what would you say, Brad? 10-minute segment that just stuffed so much for us.
It was wrestling perfection.
It was wrestling perfection. So if we just run this down, and then I want to pass it to you. Somehow, I was so regretful about this. We did not discuss on last week's edition of GI
Yeah, that's right.
the upcoming Danhausen versus Ricky Starks FTW match.
Richard Starks. Yes.
Yeah, Richard Starks.
Yeah.
I was so eager to get your thoughts on air, but luckily Tony Khan listened to us and said, hold on, guys. Like, you will definitely talk about it this week. So Ricky very predictably beats Danhausen in what you could argue was a squash match. And then he says, you know what? I still got more left in the tank, even though my neck's a little messed up. And we know he has a history of neck issues.
Right. Great sell job.
I'm absolute. I'm good. Yeah. And by the way, great MJF like video package before Ricky's entrance.
That was so good.
It was so good. I am just all here for Ricky Starks.
Yes.
A lot of similarities, I would argue, between the potential of him and MJF. But anyway, Ricky beats Danhausen, then administers an open challenge. Brad, you were watching this live. When Ricky gave out the open challenge, what did you think?
It had to be Hook. Anybody else would have been a disappointment, is what I thought. So first of all, I want to give love to my boy Danhausen, who did get some offense in. I love Danhausen. That dude he's so incredibly over. I don't know what the merch numbers look like just for having Danhausen on the roster, but they have to be pretty high.
They're in the green.
And everybody right now loves Ricky Starks. He's one of the company's biggest heels, and he just slowly turned into this person where people don't care if he's a heel because he's so great. He transcended that. He's out of that now. He doesn't have the size, but tell me you don't get shades of a young Rock here.
Of course. Rock is absolutely the influence here. Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely. So good.
I thought the match was great with Danhausen. It's what it needed to be. It was enough where Danhausen got him a couple of times where it like shots on the neck. Like it was almost like Danhausen was working a body part. And then he's like, all right, bing, bang, boom. Danhausen's dead. Pinned him 1, 2, 3. And then I got a little left in the tank. Let's go. And then when that first, you could hear the crowd going, Hook, Hook,
right.
Hook.
Yeah, they really drew it out. They didn't rush into the entrance.
It's long. And then you hear it. Yes, exactly. You hear Action Bronson's I guess it's the bass line hit where you hear the bass, just that first pop, ding, 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 and the lights go out a little bit and then they go all the way out and then the white lights come around the rings. God, his entrance rules.
Road Warrior pop.
And I haven't noticed because he hasn't actually entered or wrestled in a few weeks.
Right.
Did you notice the difference with his entrance?
No.
Hook came out of the good guy tunnel.
Oh,
he came out of the babyface tunnel.
Okay, I thought that's where you were going. Yeah,
yeah. So Hook came out with besides his trunks,
and still not a white meat babyface by any means. Like even after he won the match, he just like sort of took the belt. But
I love that.
I'm here for it. He's over.
Yes,
that's who he is. Yeah,
there was something I don't remember who talked to Stone Cold. It was I don't know if it was Vince or somebody else when he turned heel during the invasion angle, which was terrible. But when he turned heel, he was doing some scaredy heel shit. Like he would fight somebody and then run away. And he's like, well, that's what heels do. And he's like, that's not what you do. Just because you're a bad guy now doesn't mean you should be chicken shit and run away.
You don't have to follow the tropes.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. And all I could think is like, Hook doesn't have to change being a babyface at all. He's over like Rover. Like when he came in, the chips, all that stuff, every bit of Hook's presentation has been perfect. So that transition into that where we're like, yeah, Ricky rules. He's beat up. He's going to do this. Really? Is he really going to do this? And then the music hits and everybody's ready for it.
Yeah.
As soon as you see the orange trunks, you know he's winning.
Yes. And I didn't think we would get this till All Out. This was just
me either.
The best non-advertised surprise that I think we've had in a long time in terms of a match.
My prediction here is that we get Hook versus Hobbs at All Out.
Wow.
We'll see what happens on Dynamite because Taz tweeted out, I will be addressing this.
Right.
So excited to see what that means for Team Taz.
Great having Taz on commentary, by the way, when he says,
Stunning.
when Hook enters, Ricky, big mistake, Ricky.
Oh, and the way he said it, oh, big mistake, Stocks.
Yeah.
Like it was just so good. Believable.
Invaluable to have Taz on there.
It was so believable. And when he was just saying this is surreal, and you could tell in that post show interview with him and Hook, when he's talking about how proud he is of him and how hard he works, you could tell as like a dad, he was getting choked up, even though he was clinging to the wad of chew in his mouth. He was getting choked up.
I was hoping you would notice that. I mean,
just you half a can of Skull Wintergreen in his face. Like Jesus,
Circle K's finest.
You couldn't wait for a couple minutes. Whatever, to each their own, I guess.
We love Taz. I'm huge Taz guy.
All of the questions that I have is okay, you're chewing. Where are you putting it right now? I don't see a bottle in your hand. That's foul, Taz. That's absolutely foul what you're doing. But you could tell how proud he was of Hook.
For sure.
And Hook, when he hugged his dad like that, I was like, okay, that is a father-son love hug. And I was absolutely here for that. We didn't get to see that during the show, and I would have liked to see, like, as Hook went back, I would have loved to see Hook go over to commentary and Taz give him a hug before Ricky got on the mic.
I was wondering if we were going to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then we get Ricky on the mic with one of the best promos of his for the year, which are two of the best promos of the year. Absolutely impassioned, believed every word he said. And he's right. He's just speaking truth about how great
I'm
he
worth
is.
more than 40 seconds, and I deserve more than 40 seconds.
And
I know you're going to go to the big quote that we got about the news.
Oh, wait, what?
When he said the title, FTW
God,
title,
so
when I was
good.
given this to me, people thought it was going to be a
I
noose.
was given this
a
noose. I turned it into a tie. Holy shit.
Yeah, and he started the promo with that. And then I deserve more than 40 seconds. And the crowd, again, goes from booing him to, oh, no, we have to
cheering him so loudly. And he's like, I've been given circumstances, blah, blah, blah. No, I've been given time and blah, blah, blah. Hobbs just turns around and absolutely clocks Ricky.
I've not seen anything like that. That was
because he was like going like this and then just turned and just like bam.
Once Ricky mentioned his name, he said me and Hobbs.
And just murdered him.
Run into not bad luck, but like the timing wasn't right.
It was the timing. Yeah, that's what he was.
And it was so brilliant that Ricky,
not bad luck, but it was bad timing. Me and Hobbs.
And then Ricky obviously took the pin in that match where Swerve in Our Glory won the tag.
Yeah.
So again, just when you put the pieces together, it's like, oh yeah, these people are brilliant. They planned this in advance. This makes so much sense. And yeah, like you said, Hobbs with that shot and then the spine buster and then the camera angle of just looking up. I mean, Ricky is clearly the takeaway. Hook is the takeaway, like you said, all love to Danhausen. But we have an absolute monster singles heel in Powerhouse Hobbs too.
Yeah, and Hobbs being such a bigger guy, like obviously bigger, obviously stronger, all of those things, probably the real FTW person there. And Starks having that belt instead of the TNT championship, which makes no sense to me. Hobbs doing that makes a lot of sense. It's like, why am I like the sidekick backup guy to this champ that I could kill? And I think that might be where he's going with that. It's like, you're not a champ anymore. I'm done being your lapdog. And maybe Taz says, you've been losing a lot. You're out, Starks, which I kind of would like to see because Starks deserves to be on his own, but I don't want Team Taz being a heel faction if Hook is the FTW champion. And maybe Team Taz is dead and Taz says, I'm just focusing. I hope it is. And Taz says, I'm focusing on my son.
Right.
Who's the current FTW champion and the only one that deserves it. We're going to get something like that.
That's
like
renegade shit, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this old man dad yelling at his children, I think could be great.
I need to get that action figure once it's available in my local store, the Taz action figure.
Yeah. Well,
and they have Ricky and Hobbs. Like how budgeting.
Taz and Hook are on the way. Half of the plastic will be dedicated to Hook's hair. We have, okay. My question for you.
Yeah.
We got Thunder Rosa versus Yamashita, which started a little rough, and there were some mistakes, and they're a little sloppy. But again, live performance. That match picked up quick, and boy, oh boy, did they beat the shit out of each other.
Yes, they did.
That ruled. That was amazing. That was a great match.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
We had Anna Jay against Ruby Soho. I thought Ruby was great. I thought Anna Jay is still super green, improving. I thought her spinning heel kick is either really, really cool or really, really slow. And it looks like she's thinking too much about it. But she kicked Ruby with a thrust kick that I was like, whoa, that felt bad. I'm guessing you're going to feel that later on. And then it was a good match. How do you fix the women's division's booking though? We have some really strange stuff happening here. We're getting time for one match here, one match there. We've hardly gotten to see anything. If Brit's wrestling, it's against people you don't know in a tag match or something with Jamie. We have some of the best workers in the world on this roster now, and they're not being utilized. And I think that's an enormous mistake given what Triple H just brought in for SummerSlam. And going forward here with the women's division over in WWE, you have to have something to compete with that, or people are going to go, well, I'm not getting it here. I'm going to turn elsewhere to find it. So how do they fix it, man?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting idea that I'm going to share because I am of the belief that there are too many belts right now in AEW.
Agreed.
But I think if you swapped and had an AEW tag team, not only women's division, but tag team titles, and then you merge TBS with the women's title. So
yeah,
you unify them. There's just one women's belt. And then you also, I guess you essentially, I love this belt and I love the title holder, but let's say hypothetically you take away the TBS title to unify it with the women's title. And then you add women's tag titles. I think that could get more women on TV.
I love that idea.
Okay, thank you. I know it's maybe a little out there.
And stop putting ROH titles on my screen.
No, I mean, we can't ignore that part.
Yeah, but it's just there's so many outside titles just showing up all the time. Like, is this a title show?
We can't ignore over the last month and change that's been difficult for the booking. Is that the ROH title? I would argue has been highlighted more than their own women's championship, which makes no sense. I mean, you're building to a pay-per-view, you want to sell buys, but it's affected the booking. So I would say, unify that, man. Women's tag titles being established, I think that will get more talent on the show, and it would just hopefully create some more cohesion with the booking, because we do have potential tag teams who could vie for those belts. We have Ty J, like you're alluding to here. We have pairs that could be made.
I love those two together.
Ruby with someone. You have Thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm,
right? Like Thunderstorm is not just a 2-week thing. Like they have merch. They're being spotlighted. I think they're wrestling on Dynamite.
You could have Chris and Athena. You could have Chris. Things,
yeah, the baddies. So that's what I would do. But it sounds like you're on board for this idea.
No, I think it's a great idea because there are too many titles. I think traditionally speaking, WWE Classic and WCW got a little bloated with belts, but it didn't really feel that way because I always forget that they had their TV title, they had the Cruiserweight title, they had the US Championship title, they had their big gold belt, the world title, they had tag team titles, they had all of those titles. I kind of forgot that. But world championship, intercontinental championship, tag team championships, those are the only belts you need. Now, if you're going to throw in the trios because it's different, that's cool. But keep that 6-man bullshit in ROH. That works over there. Don't put it on TV. It's too much time. But I love that idea too with the 6-man tag. You get 6 stars on screen at the same time. And that's a way to get people on TV and have stakes. So I really struggle with that. So trios, I think, is perfect for the women. I don't. Let's face it. I don't know that right now a women's division is going to be a bigger draw than a men's division. It's just not there yet. It's sort of like, even though we could turn on a WNBA game and watch and go like, this is better than what I'm watching in other places. Even in the NBA, people aren't tuning in like they would be for other things. But Britt said it all along, and every time she's on there, her segments, her matches pop a rating because she's so good. They need to commit to that. Maybe change the game that way. Impact does stuff like that, but Impact is on like Bob's Channel 9. Like, I have no idea how to watch.
It used to be Destination America. Now,
yeah, I'm not watching that shit on Twitch. So like,
I'm not either.
So having the dedicated tag belts, unifying that championship. Otherwise, there's too many championships. Every match is a championship match.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's too many. Or you limit your champions to just segments, which is kind of what's happening. And then, well, we got to build new stars. You're saying we're not building new stars. Let's put these people we've never heard of on screen. It's like, okay, I get it. I get why you're doing that, but we know they're going to lose to the other stars you're trying to build who aren't built yet. Jade, I can't even say Jade is built as a star yet. She is a star, but she's only had those 40 matches, under 40 matches ever. Anna Jay, she disappeared for so long. It's like, I forgot that she wrestles. I haven't seen her for so long, and she's so green. Get her more experience, because her in-ring work is looking pretty good. It's she's got to work on her facials a little bit more. And if she can figure that out, future champ. She's amazing. She has the total package. She's athletic as hell, great look, great talker.
Yeah, I think this her being established as a member of the JAS is going to be really good for her. For Jericho,
heel Anna is so much better. I like her.
Yeah, and for Jericho to take her under her wing, so to speak, on screen, but off screen, I would imagine. Yeah, like that can only do positive things for in terms of her improvement as a character, as an in-ring worker. I don't want to go into politics about it. I don't want Jericho to take anyone under their wing. We also didn't speak about at SummerSlam Kane and Kid Rock.
That's good. I'm glad we didn't.
I think that brought my rating number down at least one subconsciously, because I don't want to see those dudes ever. But no, Chris Jericho being sort of I think Anna Jay just being in the JAS, even though that barbed wire everywhere match and the overbooking was just very, very sloppy and not what we wanted. I think this is a great move for Anna Jay, because as you and I have said, Brad, unfortunately, the Dark Order is just not where it's at if you want to get a prominent spot on TV right now.
Yeah, they're dark. They're gone.
Unfortunately. It's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, I keep shitting publicly on Alex Reynolds like he's bad at his job. He's not. But he's one of those guys that I see, he just needs more. I think he needs more screen experience, like on TV experience, where he's probably incredible at a house show, but he doesn't have any facials at all. Like, ever. I never really see him reacting. I just see him breathing. But I've heard him talk and he's great. Why doesn't he have a mic in his hand?
And I think when you consider the fact of who his partner is, I think
you're going to get overshadowed by somebody shorter than him.
Johnny Hungy is, like, the fact that he's paired with him probably shines a brighter light on Reynolds. Like, oh, you have this very expressive partner who is just a total ball of personality and just so over the top in the best way possible.
Yeah, and all thanks to BTE skits with Brody.
Yeah,
like, the who the fuck is Griff Garrison segment is still, it pops me every single time I watch it. It's just like, it's so good because he was so boring on TV for so long, and then Tony was like, "Why aren't you doing that?"
Well, and what I'll end with this, because I know we're covering a lot of ground now, but what a load of dynamite, because we also have Jungle Boy. You and I haven't spoken on air about the Jungle Boy Christian Luchasaurus happenings lately, but Jungle Boy is back. He cut a promo.
A good one.
You talk about progress on the mic. It's funny, we talked about Anna Jay, and now we're talking about her real life partner. That was great to see Jungle Boy improve on the mic and just come with some real intensity. I don't know that I'm sold that Luchasaurus is fully on Jungle Boy's side. I think they could play around with that, but Jungle Boy really brought it on the mic, and he's fired up, Brad. That match is going to rule at All Out. I'm so excited for it. I know it hasn't been announced, but I think we can all presume that's going to be on the card. For sure.
I popped it because somebody online pointed out that Christian was not watching the TV like they do in WWE.
Yeah,
that made me check. I might have been Denise Salcedo. Happy wedding day to Denise, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Today, as we're recording.
So it was this. So in theater, this all comes back to theater. If you're talking to the person on stage and they're supposed to be behind you, you have to kind of like turn their direction and not actually turn around, or the audience is just going to be looking at the back of your head and your ass. You can't do that. So I know why WWE does that stuff. It's awkward when you think about how they're standing, but it's the only way to be able to see you. It's just, if you're not speaking, it doesn't matter. You can have your back to the camera. That's absolutely a Vince thing. Never have your back to the audience. I can hear him saying it.
Pronouns, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I love that segment. Dynamite was on fire. For they have built so much into me that there will be a surprise that at the end of every single episode, I'm waiting for somebody else's music to hit.
Right.
A return, a new person, whatever. I'm just always bracing for it stupidly because most of the debuts in recent memory outside of pay-per-views have all happened in like the middle of the night. Like Keith Lee was just a surprise opponent. And I think
Malachi
if
Black.
middle
From
middle of
Florida.
the thing, there was the light problems early on. We've been having weather.
Yeah,
They
that's right.
they sold me a ticket with that weather
And then
bullshit.
Arn Anderson gets his head kicked off.
Yes, the mic went flying. Arn was killed.
That was back when Cody was in. I mean, that seems like ages ago now.
It
back
was,
when Cody
man.
was in AEW.
Different, totally different time. The company was in a completely different state. But that is our transition to the state of 19 media. Let's give it to them.
And now it's time for the state of the biz.
Still need more Shark Week in your life? Jess and Carmen of Small Town USA have you covered. Check out their new episode as they explore a small island off the coast of Fire Island, New York. You don't want to miss this.
Temperatures have been cooling down for us in the desert, Brad, but the Baseline NBA podcast is still ablaze. Co-hosts Fort Lauderdale Luxury, Warren Shaw, and the Garden State Enigma, Cal, not to be confused with Call, Lee, discuss the latest news around the league and best available free agents.
Shout out to Call. It's a big summer for the Orlando Magic and its fan base. On the latest episode of the Close Up Magic podcast, superfans Steven and Malik welcome back Luke Smith, a Close Up Magic OG guest. They discuss RJ Hampton, personnel news, and much, much more. I checked out their podcast this week. It's great. Give it a listen.
Going back to Warren for a moment, a co-founder of 19 Media Group, he released a fresh episode of Dope Interviews. He chopped it up with Intisar Bashir, co-owner of Browndages, the phenomenal company you may remember from Shark Tank. I know I watched that episode. That's a shoot. Check it out. Great interview and a really awesome company doing big things.
Mojo, our other 19 co-founder, released a new episode of Hidden Gems Golf. Tap in and hear his thoughts on golf's latest event, the Rocket Mortgage Classic from Detroit, Michigan. Shout out to Michigan.
Shout out to the Pistons New Jerseys as well. You sent me that, and I love that we're getting that retro feel back.
Listen, man, I may have signed up for the pre-order. No chance in hell I'm pulling the trigger on something that expensive. But
130, right?
Yeah, 135, I believe. And
finally, as always, shout out to Mike Steff, former GI guest and fellow podcaster. You can check out his show, The Salty Thoughts of Donnie Ooh, for detailed and, of course, passionate commentary on the latest news in sports, professional wrestling, and New York politics. I will add that he released a SummerSlam reaction episode today, and it was amazing and incredibly thorough. So shout out to you, Mike, for the work you do, and thank you, as always, for your support of us.
Yeah, I listened to part of the podcast this week. I didn't get to listen to all of it, and there were times where I was crying in laughter. For the best and the worst reasons all at the same time.
He's one of the funniest people in
absolutely. His cadence alone makes me laugh sometimes. Like the thought before an insult, the thought before the pause before a thought, it gets me every single time.
He is that dude. Unfortunately, he's a Mets fan, as you may know if you follow him on social. We wish he would convert into a Yankees fan, the more successful, the premier franchise in all of Major League Baseball. Really enjoying the Derek Jeter documentary, by the way, Brad. The docuseries, The Captain, I think it's ESPN organized. It's super good. So anyway, Mike, if you're listening, there's still a spot for you on the Yankees bandwagon, and it will always be available to you, brother.
Is the documentary about his time as Marlins GM?
I sure hope not.
Got it. Tyler, let's move on. Let's wrap it up here and let's go to what we're looking forward to this week. Tyler, what are you looking forward to this week?
Yeah, man, it's the first week in August, which how is my only question.
Yeah,
I have some quick personal news. It's my last week of my final fall class for this learning design and technologies program I'm in at the university. So just really eager to wrap that up. They've been 6-week courses and they've truly flown by, much like summer 2K22 has. So really excited to wrap up. This course has been super enjoyable, honestly, and I think I've done relatively well. So after that, man, we will right into the fall semester starting, which I know we'll get to when I pass it off to you. So personally, I'll be taking fall courses, but then also on the job, this is my first semester with the Teachers College at Arizona State. The first fall semester. So I'm really excited to help welcome students. And I know there's a lot of pomp and circumstance that goes with that. So really excited for it. And man, just really excited for what we have in store for Gimmick Infringement as we exit summer and head into the fall. I know we have some really creative visions planned. So personally, professionally, just feeling really grateful and really excited for what's to come. You have a big week though, Brad. I am so excited to pass it off to you. Another school year is starting up. I know you are going to do great things and have just incredible, really unspeakable impacts on the youth. So how are you feeling about another year as a Marana Tiger?
You know what? I'm ready to go. I have my classroom set up for the most part. I don't have like decor up or turn in trays. And I put these things up every year and like hardly ever use them because everything's electronic now. So I probably will still do that and then they'll collect dust. Man, I dread this first week back. I can't wait for the following week. The following week I get to be with students. Little scared. I have a feeling that on Sunday next week I'm going to be in shambles. As I wait for the first day of Freya's kindergarten. That's the part that's going to be difficult. It's not so this week we get to meet her teacher and get to drop off all of her stuff in the kindergarten classroom Thursday night. I go back on Wednesday. I will likely be in the classroom either tomorrow or Tuesday doing some work, trying to get some stuff planned. Maybe I'll do it right here. Haven't decided. So I'm looking forward to a new year, new potential, new possibilities. I have some ginormous classes. Everything is new, man. And so one thing about our business, our profession, is that every year we have a new crop. So it might always be a little bit like the same thing, but it's never the same. It's always a surprise. There's always a different dynamic. It's ever changing. And I think I like that the most about what we do. So I'm psyched. I can't wait to meet the kids. I can't wait to get started. And at the same time, I'm not ready for summer to be over because there's just so much I wanted to do and I'm not done with it. Like after this, I'm going to do something in the garage to finish up because of course I am. But Tyler, like you, I'm excited for what the future holds for GI. We do have some exciting projects coming up. I don't know when they'll come out, but I am really pumped for them. Like I can't put into words how excited I am. We have at least 2, maybe 3 projects that'll be coming out. We'll let you know when they are. Continue to support us, share, like, subscribe, comment, all of those things on all of the platforms and all of the places. Interact with us on the social media accounts. Go to the webpage, gimmickinfringementpod.com. I know Tyler's going to give you all this here in a second, but I wanted to double plug it because it does really, really help us out. It helps us get advertisers. It helps us keep advertisers. It is a huge help. So we appreciate you if you could do that or just for listening. We appreciate that too. And thank you for riding with us for this long.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to Good Pods for being our premier partner. Really excited for that partnership to continue blossoming. Brad can be found at Wind Duster on Twitter. You can find me at Tyler J. McDowell. You can find us at GI Pod 19. And as Brad said, thank you so much for riding with us, for supporting us, especially these last couple of weeks with these episodes that we released that did really positive numbers. Really, not that we needed energy, I guess, but I think really re-energized us, Brad, and just felt really, really wonderful. So thank you so much. We hope to see you on the next episode. And we'll be back at you, back in your inbox next week. Thank you all again. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.